Terry Francona,
Yes.
the Guardians.
Okay, yeah, that's a
going
great
again.
idea.
Second half of the season begins, or it's not really the second half, but the second portion of their season begins, and we're going to talk about the Guardians' first half in a sec. But this was something we talked about in one of our first weeks, and then we were like, "Yeah, let's table the discussion for a little longer." We brought it back.
Okay.
Talk about how good Terry Francona has been as the manager here in Cleveland for the last couple of years, and that got us thinking. He's the best coach manager in Cleveland since who?
You got who wants
So
to
we
start
went around
this?
the horn. Who
Wanna
wants to start?
Paul?
Go ahead. I'll start. But first and foremost, see, Brad thought he was slick. I seen that, though. I peeped that. G. Bush don't miss nothing. But let's keep it moving.
What'd you do?
See,
By the way, Mike did not clarify this initially, whether it was just their time in Cleveland or their whole coaching career. So I went with whole coaching career, not just time in Cleveland.
I heavily weighed what they did in Cleveland, but I did consider everything. But the reason I heavily weighed in Cleveland is because otherwise it would just be one answer and the conversation would be over.
Yeah. So for me, what I did is I went ahead and said, you know what? Let me go with Lenny Wilkens, because Lenny Wilkens is the Tito Francona of basketball. He did a great job. We know Nance, Hot Rod, Elo, Doherty, Price, all those. And if it wasn't for this guy's boy over here, if it wasn't for his best friend running around here, your man.
Hold on, what about the rest of us? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You're just trying to discredit your boy here, right?
Yeah.
You was getting money off, but he put the dagger in everybody. He got the Knicks, he got Utah Jazz, he got the Cavs, the Hawks. Could nobody win. Suns, everybody. People retired with no rings. If it wasn't for that dude, Lenny
Thunder
Wilkens,
Dan Marley is crying right now.
Lenny Wilkens was that guy, nicest dude in the world. Hey, by the way, had a crazy basketball career. Then was all-time wins leader. So I think Lenny Wilkens, class that guy. Some people say the cast was a little bit soft back then, but listen, come on. The Pistons, your boys again. All your friends beat people up, man. Listen, but I tell you what, Lenny Wilkens, I like what he brought to the table. If it wasn't for Jordan and them guys, I think Lenny would have been higher up on the list.
Hall of Famer, no doubt.
Well, I jumped in. I was succinct with mine. I said Mike Hargrove.
Ooh,
Grover had a great career here in Cleveland. And I'm in the gym the other day. I'm lifting weights. I'm getting myself ready, keep myself fit. And I'm watching the Yankees play the Indians in the ALCS, right? When the Yankees won 4-2 against the Indians. But it's Grover them. I mean, think about the chances he got with this team, where he took the Indians team to at that time. I mean, because the Indians had been a laughingstock for years. Years, until he got a hold of this team and the talent level that walks through that door. I mean, I still don't think we give Albert Bell the credit that he did, because he was, and I saw. And
maybe he wasn't a psychopath.
Yeah,
well,
but we just talk about playing ability.
Yeah, he was phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
He actually should get serious consideration for the Hall of Fame, but he never will.
No, because there was a lot of speculation about steroid use. Yeah. And his post-playing career's got a lot of blemishes on it.
Yeah. But
chasing down the kids with his car, that toilet papered his house on Halloween.
Yeah.
That's not a good look. I think he may have been arrested a time or two in other incidents of domestic violence.
Grover did a great job when he was here in Cleveland, running the franchise. He did. And Francona reminds me of that period.
All right, Jay, you go, because I got to go last.
Okay, I do think I should address the Mike Hargrove thing, because I gave Mike Hargrove and Lenny Wilkens both a lot of consideration. With Hargrove, the way his whole career played out, he was never a 500 manager anywhere but Cleveland. And when you look at the talent he had here, I think it's an indictment on Mike Hargrove that they never won a World Series. Now, granted, they came close. They lost in '95, 6 games to the Braves. All-time great performance in Game 6 by, I believe, Glavine, pitched a shutout. And in '97, they lost to the Florida Marlins in Game 7, extra innings. I just think that with the Hall of Fame lineup that he had with I know Omar's not in the Hall of Fame, but Omar Vizquel, Baerga, and then Roberto Alomar, and Tomey and Alomar behind the plate, Sandy Alomar and Bell and Ramirez. It's almost an indictment that they don't have a banner over.
Now, they didn't really have the pitching, as we know.
No, they didn't have great pitching, but they did. You know, Oral Hershiser was part of those teams. They had some arms, but
that was I think it's the greatest lineup I've ever seen.
Offensive, I wouldn't argue with that. But I went with Marty Schottenheimer. And the reason I went with Marty is because I thought he had great success while he was here, but not just here. Marty was 126-1. He had a winning record, and he's the only coach in the history of the NFL to coach 4 different teams and have a winning record with all 4. That tells me that irregardless of talent, wherever you go, your footprint is made and your impact is felt. He certainly did it here. He did it at San Diego. He had some great teams. But again, with Marty, the big asterisk with him, and he had some great Chiefs teams as well, and he was with the Redskins, he was never able to win the Super Bowl. And he lost in a lot of conference championship games. That was the only blemish. But in my lifetime, anyhow, he was the one. And I thought about your guy. I think you're going to go with who you're going to go with.
Yeah.
Career resume, no question. But when he was here, he was good, but never great.
Yeah. So you guys all had good answers. Lenny Wilkins, Marty Schottenheimer, Mike Hargrove.
But we're all wrong.
Yes. But you're all wrong. Obviously.
It's coming.
No matter what the question is. If it's best only in Cleveland, you're wrong because then it's only Paul Brown.
Yeah.
And if it's best including others, it's the guy I picked, which is Bill Belichick. Because here's the thing. Your 3 guys in their entire careers combined to win 1 championship.
Right.
Your 3 guys combined.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick has won 82 championships. Not a 6-time Super Bowl
I
champion.
thought this was why you were here.
Okay, but even in Cleveland, not only in Cleveland, even Francona.
He was sub 500 when he was here.
Belichick, right?
Yeah.
But Francona, he by himself won 2 championships in his whole career, which is more than those 3 guys combined. So how can you put any of those guys ahead of Francona?
Well,
it's the best since Francona.
I thought it was the criteria for coaching while here in Cleveland.
Why in Cleveland?
Right.
Okay.
It was.
So then, if that's the case, if we're doing it specifically only in Cleveland, then I go Paul Brown.
It's Paul Brown.
Because there's never been, Terry Francona, in my opinion, even though, obviously Mike Brown is the only championship of any of our lifetimes.
Right.
Right?
No, it's Ty Lue.
Yeah, Ty Lue.
Mike Brown. What the hell am I talking
was the
about?
coach.
Ty Lue, sorry, was the only championship that any of us ever seen in Cleveland.
Yep.
But to me, Terry Francona.
Wait, how old are you, Brad?
59.
No, he was alive when the Browns won their last championship.
Okay.
He was alive.
I sure was.
You were
Okay.
1 or 2.
There you go.
2.
So
But you
Paul
were alive.
Brown,
I was in there.
Paul Brown is the only answer in Cleveland because none of these guys won a championship in Cleveland. The 3 guys you mentioned.
Yeah.
And neither is Francona. But unlike Francona hasn't had the talent that Hargrove had.
No, he never had as much star power for sure.
Yeah.
But I thought that 16 team was great. I thought
But Jay, that 16 team, honestly, had no business going to the World Series.
No, they overachieved.
But
I credit.
I actually thought the 17 team was better.
I credit Tito for that. I think great managers get their teams to play better than they are.
Yes.
And I think in his career, Tito has done just that.
No doubt. Plus, he ended the Red Sox drought.
Yeah, which is
he
huge.
almost ended the drought for the Indians, now Guardians.
You know, he started at the beginning of his career when he was in Philly. There were a lot of folks that thought he'd never get a second chance.
Yeah, he wasn't great there.
He was not great in Philly. In fact, he was bad in Philly.
But ultimately,
But man, did he figure it out.
the talent matters the most. And
It
that's
does,
the
but
big
I think he
influence.
will tell you, too, that he learned a lot of lessons from his days in Philly.
No doubt.
And, he managed Michael Jordan when Michael was in Birmingham.
Yep. Yeah.
And I don't know that there's any wrong answers. I'll tell you the reason that I thought about Paul Brown for sure. But for me, I look at the NFL in 2 different eras. I look at the Super Bowl era, and then I look at everything before it.
Right.
And I just felt like, because you do this all the time, you're like, who cares about Otto Graf?
That's why I said Belichick ultimately, because I included what he did in New
But
England.
I just looked at, I weighted more.
Yeah.
I weighed more what they did while they were here.
Yeah.
And Belichick certainly was not celebrated as a great coach when he was here.
Right. Sure.
Lenny was. And Hargrove was.
I'll go Paul Brown 1. I will go Lenny Wilkins 2. I will go Hargrove 3. And then my 4th is in play, right? But I say those.
So you just dropped your number 1 down to number 3.
Well, here, because if we talk about the totality of what he was just talking about, what Bo was just talking about, Paul Brown by far from all that we know.
Yeah.
Right? And then after that, Lenny did a great job. To G's point, the only thing that stopped the Cavaliers was 90 going west of 2 states over. That's the only thing that stopped them.
And I'll tell you what, you got to throw the 4th guy in there. Hey, we can't give this guy enough credit, LeBron James.
Yeah, he was a great GM.
By the way, he was the GM, the coach.
Yeah.